All right, today we're jumping into a really tricky task from the PMI CPMI exam, documenting the business objective in the project plan. Now, this one seems simple on the surface, but believe me, it's a final checkpoint that trips up a lot of people. So let's break down why it's so important and exactly how to get it right. Okay, so right off the bat, you're probably scratching your head. The exam outline for Phase 1 lists determined business objectives not once, but twice. So what gives? Are they the same thing? The short answer is a big, fat no, and the exam for sure expects you to know the difference. And this slide honestly lays it out perfectly. The first time you see this, it's all about discovery, right? It's about defining the why. But the second time, and this is our focus today, it's all about locking in that why. This is where the objective becomes the official, non-negotiable anchor for the entire project. So to make sure you absolutely nail this on the exam, we're going to break it down into 6 parts. We'll start with its role as a final checkpoint, then get into the framework, define what done actually looks like, point out those common exam traps, run through some practice scenarios, and wrap it all up with some memory hooks to make it stick. Okay, let's kick things off with orientation, because really, if you don't get when this task happens, you won't get why it's so important. The whole point here isn't to brainstorm new, shiny ideas. Nope, this is about taking that vague idea of, hey, we should use AI, and turning it into a real, controlled plan. This plan becomes the single source of truth, and that prevents something called scope drift. And you know what that is, right? It's when the team starts chasing cool tech instead of solving the actual business problem. So take a look at this timeline of Phase 1. You can see our task is sitting right at the end, the last major step before we head into Phase 2. It happens after the initial objective is defined, and, more importantly, after the big AI go, no-go decision. And this sequence is absolutely critical, you guys. You don't finalize the how until you know for sure that the project is a go. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Because for the exam, you've got to know exactly what goes in, what decisions get made, and what comes out the other side. So, the big deliverable we're talking about is the project plan. But for this specific task, we're zooming in on just one part, the section that documents the business objective. Seriously, think of it as the project's North Star. It's the anchor for execution. It guides everything that comes next, especially all that data collection work in Phase 2. The process here is actually super logical. It's not rocket science. First, you grab the business objective that was already decided on earlier. Then, and this is key, you double-check it against all the findings from the feasibility analysis. Next, you nail down the final, exact, crystal clear wording. And bam, you document that wording in the project plan. Done. So here's the bottom line. This isn't about creating something from scratch. It's all about refining and formalizing. Your key inputs, the objective you already have, and, this is super important, all those feasibility findings. If the data team said you can only tackle part of the problem, that has to be reflected here. The key decision is all about that final wording, making sure it's precise and respects those constraints. And the output is that solid, stable baseline you need for Phase 2. Okay, so how you know when you're actually done with this task? And what proof, what artifacts show that you've done it correctly? And you can bet this is a classic exam topic. The source material gives us a perfect definition of what done looks like. Let's break this down. Clear and agreed? Well, that's a given. Consistent with feasibility? Means no magical thinking, right? But the most critical part, the real test, is that it has to be able to guide the work in Phase 2, data understanding. If the data team looks at it and says, then it's not done. So the proof that you're done comes in 2 parts. First, the project plan itself, with an objective that's clear, testable, and leaves no room for guessing. And second, there's this little thing called an objective trace note. Now, this sounds fancy, but it's just a simple, crucial piece of the puzzle. It's a note that connects the final, polished objective in the plan all the way back to the original one from the start of the phase. It proves you haven't lost your way. Okay, time to talk about the traps. This is where people trip up on the exam all the time. Let's look at the 3 biggest pitfalls for this task so you can steer clear of them. Trap number 1, and it's a big one, is being way too vague. An objective like improve routing is useless as an anchor. I mean, what does that even mean? The data team has no idea where to even start. The correct PMI move is to lock in something precise and measurable, like reduce manual routing work by 15% for Tier 1 packages. Now that's a target everyone can aim for. Oh yeah, this one is huge. It's so easy to just copy-paste the original objective from the beginning of the phase. But what if your feasibility check found you only have good data for 2 out of the 5 regions you plan for? The correct PMI move is to narrow the objective in the plan to reflect that reality. The plan has to be based on what you can actually deliver. And the last trap, getting the project plan mixed up with a go/no-go decision. It's a common mistake to think the plan itself is the final approval. It's not. Remember, the go/no-go gate is the big decision point. Are we doing this or not? The project plan is the roadmap you create after everyone says yes, defining how you're going to get there.
All right, enough theory. Let's put this to the test with some exam-style scenarios. This is seriously the best way to make these concepts stick.
Okay, scenario 1. Imagine a project manager. She's got her key inputs, the approved objective, and the completed feasibility analysis. And now she's writing that section of the project plan that makes it all official. So what's she doing? What's the official PMI, CPMI task name? Is it A, B, or C? And the answer is C. The dead giveaways are the phrases writing the section of the project plan and formalizes. She isn't defining success criteria or making a go/no-go decision. She's performing the exact task we've been talking about: produce project plan, determine business objectives. All right, next up, a new wrinkle. During the data feasibility check, the team finds out they only have data for 2 out of the 5 asset types they originally scoped. Whoops. So with this new information, what does the PM do now? What's the best next action? Stick to the original plan? Narrow the objective? Or escalate? You got it. The correct PMI move is B. This is a perfect example of avoiding trap number 2, ignoring feasibility. The project plan can't be a work of fiction, right? It has to be grounded in the reality of what the data will actually support. So she has to narrow that objective. Okay, let's wrap this up by boiling it all down to the absolute essentials, the stuff you need to memorize for the exam. Here are 4 if-then rules that are going to be your best friend under exam pressure. Rule 1. If the question is about that final, official documentation, then you're looking at this task: produce project plan. 2. If feasibility findings are an input, then the objective in the plan must reflect them. 3. If things are going sideways in phase 2, the root cause is probably a vague objective in the plan. And 4. If you're asked for the only task in this task group, the answer is determine business objectives. Look, if you're cramming and only have a minute, these are the 5 things to burn into your brain. 1. Its purpose is to be the execution anchor. 2. Its key input is the feasibility findings. 3. The key decision is the final exact wording. 4. The key output is the project plan artifact. And 5. It directly sets up the next step, which is phase 2 data understanding. So let's just recap the 3 biggest takeaways here, the things you absolutely have to remember. 1. This task is the final lock-in, not the initial brainstorming. 2. The objective in your plan must be 100% consistent with all the feasibility constraints. And 3, this documented objective is the non-negotiable anchor for every single thing that happens next. Getting this right prevents so much wasted effort by controlling the scope of everything that follows. Which brings us to our final question on the screen. That wraps up this explainer. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.